Welcome to another interactive class of EVS. Yesterday we discussed about skeleton, functions of skeleton, or we can say importance of skeleton, and we know skeleton can be divided into 5 parts: skull, rib cage, bone, limbs and girdles. Yesterday we discussed about skull, rib cage and backbone, and today we are going to discuss about rest 2 parts, limbs and girdles. In this picture you can see on your left hand side skull. We discussed about skull yesterday. It's made up of 22 bones and it performs very important function, protect the brain. Rib cage, it is made up of 12 pair of ribs, out of which 10 are fixed. They are joined to the breastbone in the front and to the backbone at the back, and 2 ribs are free floating ribs there. We discussed about backbone. Backbone is made up of 26 bones, that is called vertebrae, and it protects the spinal cord. Today we are going to discuss about the bones which are shown towards the right hand side. In this picture you can see pectoral girdle or shoulder girdle, and on this side you can see pelvic girdle. Upper limb and lower limbs. We have 2 pair of limbs and these limbs have long and hollow bones. Upper limb is made up of humerus, that is bone in our upper arm, and in the forearm it's made up of 2 bones, radius and ulna, and then we have our fingers. And the lower limb, it's made up of the thigh bone or the femur. Thigh bone is the strongest and the longest bone in our body. Then we have 2 bones in the lower part of the lower limb, that is tibia and fibula. These are lower and upper limb of our body. And there are 2 girdles in our body: shoulder girdle, that we also call pelvic girdle, and pectoral girdle. Shoulder girdle along with collarbone, it helps us to move the upper limb. If you try to move your hand, that move around the shoulder, that is connected, that is shoulder girdle. And the pelvic girdle, it's in the lower part of the body. It helps in the movement of the lower limbs, as well as it protects our important organs like kidney and urinary bladder. Limbs, upper and lower limbs. You can read this thing. Upper limbs are made up of humerus, radius and ulna. Humerus form the upper arm, and radius and ulna along with finger bones, they form forearm. And lower limbs have femur bone, which forms our thigh, and then in the lower part we have tibia and fibula. Another name for shoulder girdle is pectoral girdle. And shoulder girdle along with collarbone, it helps in movement of upper limbs. Upper limbs are our hands, and pelvic girdle helps in movement of lower limbs. Lower limbs are our legs. That means our movement, walking, running, sitting, exercise, lifting things, writing, it's possible due to these bones as well as the girdles. It's time to know about our bones. The adult human body has 206 bones. The human hand including the wrist means the part where you put on your watch, it contains 54 bones. Big number. The femur or the thigh bone is the strongest and the longest bone in the human skeleton, and the stapes in the middle ear The ear we can see is the outer or external ear. Its inner part has bones, out of which the stapes is the smallest and the lightest bone of human skeleton. Somewhere you will find the word stirrup also. It's also used instead of stapes. Our bones are made up of minerals like calcium, phosphorus, sodium, as well as some protein component that is called the collagen. Now we'll move to one more term, joints. The region where two or more bones meet, it's called a joint. In our body, some joints are movable and some are fixed joint. About the type of joints we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Now what you will do, you will touch these parts one by one. Touch your elbow. You know your elbow? Touch your fingers and try to squeeze something. Try to hold the pencil, the shape of your finger changes. And you try to squeeze something. This is all possible due to presence of joints. Knees. If you are sitting cross-legged, your knees are in different position. You are standing, they are in different position. You are sitting on chair, they are in different position. We can sit in these different position only by the help of our joints. Our toes, they are also having joints. So we'll be discussing them, a type of joints in tomorrow's class.